Welcome to the Ghost Heads Nerd Talk Podcast. Interviews and conversations about nerd culture from all around the world. Now here are your three Ghostbuster hosts, Joe, Rain, and Val. Enjoy the show.
Oh, hey fans. Rain and Val, they couldn't make it tonight, but you know what they say. The show must go on. So this show started out as a single guy, and then I got another buddy that joined me that just didn't want to do the show. And then I got Rain and Val, and this show became like the hit show that everybody wanted to watch. But the girls are busy, and they both couldn't make it, and I understand because kind of dude I am. But tonight, this may be maybe a little shorter than it usually is. So tonight's episode, the topic is 90s cartoons that the reason that like the people still talk about them today. Like everybody still talks about Doug. And it's like I know people that go, why do they still talk about that show? That show was so like awkward. I have a friend that always says Doug was so awkward. The show was so weird. Like it had a weird thing that he was so an odd figure, and it's like he's an oddball of the group. And why would they even have him as the featured character? Why wouldn't they make it about Bluffington instead of Doug? Most people are like, oh, Doug's so corny. If you think Doug's corny, then most of you are corny. So, like, I don't know. I just feel that the shows like Doug and Rugrats and the cartoons that we all had to deal with in the 90s that most people would have thought it would have been canceled in 5 seconds in this kind of generation of cartoons, because now they actually have channels that are not as much anymore, because I don't think Cartoon Network really is a featured thing anymore, because everybody always goes on the local like apps and small stuff like that nobody actually sits and watches TV that much anymore, as much as they're watching all the apps instead of watching an actual channel, like going on Paramount Plus. Hey, what's going on? Welcome. Like, welcome. Yeah, like I personally think that Doug was a show about a guy that really wasn't a popular person, and I don't know, I just feel that Doug was a good cartoon, and I know a lot of people they would disagree with me, saying Doug was a nerd and an oddball, and why would anybody want to be like a big supporter of Doug? I think Doug was cool. I brought myself to think I was kind of like a Doug character, like an oddball. Nobody really wanted to talk to me, and I'm like the nerd. Everybody's like, "Oh, look, he's wearing weird shoes, or he's always wearing a weird hat or weird glasses." Everybody in my sense is everybody has their own Doug thing to them. Like they wear a certain shirt and they're called an oddball, or if you're wearing, I don't know, I found Doug, um, Rugrats. Everybody, did you watch? Anybody in the chat watch Rugrats back in the day when they were kids? I know I loved watching Rugrats. Rugrats had an interesting thing. These kids always went on little adventures with each other, even though sometimes you're like, that really wasn't an adventure. It was just their imaginations, and they're in a jungle. But it's kids. Kids had adventures, and the cartoons like Tiny Toons, where they had all their fun little things they did, and like there was so many different, like so many things that as a kid you watch these cartoons, and now you think that could have been me when I was like 10 to 14 years old, doing all those funny things that they did on the show, but it's like sometimes you're like, I could have talked to a girl with no problem, but as a kid, could you just sit in there and talk to a girl like that? Nowadays, it's like, oh, I just walk up and start talking to girls, but it's nerves and makes you scared. Like, not everybody has the reason you like. Just kidding. But yeah, well, and we also had, oh my gosh, we had so many cartoons to choose from in the 90s. From the action shows like oh yeah, we got more in the chat. Here we go. Yeah, the Warner yeah, WB had the good ones like the Rangers. Oh my gosh, there was so many that we had on TV, like Darkwing Duck. Like, I never thought that I would get hooked to this duck show. It was like watching a Batman duck. You know what I mean? Like Darkwing Duck. That was like the coolest like show anybody like. And also they just did a review on it on the they brought it back, the X-Men, the show with the X-Men. That was another one. I think that was like 2000s. I think that was 2000s was the 90s. I can't remember. But that one, yeah, that was a fun episode. What am I overlooking? What am I overlooking? What am I overlooking? Explain yourself, sir. You're on the flashlight's on you. What am I overlooking? Oh, okay. Okay. Spooning. Okay. Okay. Um the Tick. Yes, the Tick. You know what's funny? What do you think that they should have did a little more episodes with the Tick? Because like, do you think the Tick should have gotten a little more seasons, or do you think they should have rebooted Tick and brought him back out again, but make it like the son of Tick? I would have did that because everybody liked the Tick because he was kind of edgy for his time on in the cartoons and stuff like that. Oh yeah, that's another good one. Okay, okay, I gotta check that out. Yeah, I remember the Tick live action, but you know what he kind of reminded me of? Is like they used the mold for the dad from American Dad when it comes to when it came like the molding for the Tick because he had that big chin, and it's like were they thinking about the dad from American Dad when they did the body of the Tick? And I was like, this is kind of odd. Like it's an odd thing to think about when it comes to the body of the Tick. Like I don't know anybody in this room that watches American Dad and they go back and they look at the Tick and I'm like, the Tick, um, it looks like almost the same body as American Dad. But yeah, hey, somebody needs to draw a picture of the Tick, dad of his American Dad, dressed like the Tick, and have the moth as the sun. Like, someone needs to draw that cartoon. That'd be funny. Yeah, I was just looking on Instagram. Tiny Toons, that's another one that really is overlooked. A lot of people don't bring it up, or the kids nowadays. You mentioned something like Tiny Toons, and they're like, "What's Tiny Toons?" And then you immediately have to go back and go on YouTube and click the entrance theme, and they'll kind of get a flashback of what they're talking about, but you kind of zone out, kids. Uh, yeah. So, is there anything else in the chat you guys remember? I know Animaniacs, but was that like 2000s? Because I'm overlooking a lot of other ones. Um, there's a lot of good ones. What about? Oh, I'm trying to think. There's so many more that I must be overlooking. That but yeah, Max and Max. Yeah, yeah, the Max on. Oh yeah, Max. Yeah. Eon Flux. Oh, they. Am I right? I was talking to these kids I work with today. I work with a lot of younger kids in my job, and they all agreed with me, and I was shocked because normally the kids these days don't agree with anything you say if you're older than them. That if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, and like that era, you lived through the most fun things of all time. Big purple dude with the oh yeah. Oh yeah. I remember that dude, the head. Oh yeah, the freaking head. Like, woo. Yeah, that big dome. Like, how did he get around? Did he like have to sit like this in his car? Like, the most unluckiest guy in the world. Like, what the what the hell he's what the hell? That's like the most craziest thing that I have ever like have seen like growing up. And also don't know if you all remember is Liquid Television. I don't know if that was in the 90s or that was like in the 2000s. Does anybody remember Liquid Television? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Ren and Stimpy, of course. You can't forget. You can't talk about the cartoons we grew up without Ren and Stimpy. They're like the kings of comedy of the cartoon world. Like if you didn't bring up Ren and Stimpy, you weren't talking about the right era. Like those guys, bar none, they always every episode of Ren and Stimpy that you go on Paramount Plus, you could sit there for hours and just sit there watching and dying laughing. Like, oh, like if there's a kid that you know that's never watched Ren and Stimpy, and you have Paramount Plus, and they have nothing to do that day besides making them go out and do chores, go sit them in front of the TV and have them watch every episode of Ren and Stimpy from episode 1 all the way up to the last episode, because that series absolutely will blow your mind on what they got away with when it comes to cartoons. And they brought it back, but they kind of made it a little like not so Ren and Stimpy like I kind of would give it a this is not Ren and Stimpy, what are you doing, what are you doing? But is there anything else anybody remembers from the 90s 90s cartoons? I have like so many that I think that should have got Hey Arnold. That's another one that it did get more of an edge to it, but they gave it more they made more movies with the Hey Arnold series. Um yeah, pushing the limits. Yeah. You're telling me Ren and Stimpy. I know some parents that when my mom told them my kids watch Ren and Stimpy, they were kind of like, "Kid, I think it's time to go." It's like, there you go. Never seeing you again. See you later. um, yeah. So, yeah, talk about yeah, literally, literally. That's how it goes when it comes to like those kind of cartoons. And yeah, Doug, Doug. We have Rugrats. We have Hey Arnold. Oh my gosh, it's so. Oh my gosh, there was so many. And then now there's Tiny Toons. There was I said Rugrats already. Oh my gosh, there's just so many cartoons that are like so many like memories that hit me when I think of cartoons in the 90s that it's like very difficult to think it all at one time. But it's so cool to think that now like we now can tell the kids these days like what was cool. Like we know what were the cool cartoons were. Like everybody wouldn't say it, but SpongeBob, he's added to this. Rugrats, we have Arnold, the one that Hey Arnold. We have even it's kind of hard to say this. South Park, Animaniacs, um, the Thornberries. That's another one that was even nobody would ever say this. Pokemon, the one with the kid with the spiky hair, all of them. Oh my gosh, just so many like different cartoons that Cat Dog is another show that everybody used to love, even though no, I'm not going to explain how this whole thing works. um, everybody's other favorite weirdo, the man with the spiky blonde hair, everybody hoo ha ha that guy, and Ren and Stimpy. We have oh my gosh. our favorite friend from Australia, the Wallaby, the king of it all, Rocco. Rocco's Modern Life. That's another one that pushed the limit on the way they did stuff was Rocco's Modern Life. Beavis and Butthead, yeah, you're bringing up the tail end of but everybody's favorite but not least favorite show, because it's another show that pushed the limits. Got some more here. Yep. It's really difficult to, if you had to pick like a top 10. Another one, Are Real Monsters. That's another one that really people talk about, but you really have to remind people about. Another one, Daria. And what was the name of the one that those kids? It was like a really tall, blonde, chubby kid, a black kid with a high top, and a girl with like the yellow hats to the side. It was like it was almost like they were playtime in school. They were like in a parking lot. I'm looking at the picture right now. Wish I could enlarge it. Where's our person? Wish he was here today. We missed you. Also another one that barely gets talked about is Dexter's Laboratory. Dexter's Laboratory is another one that barely gets spoken about. And I kind of feel a little upset that they don't bring up Dexter's Laboratory, because it has some kind of touch to it that most people don't really talk about. That it had a sense of like science and mystery that nobody wanted to talk about. It's like it was funny but weird at the same time. And I find Dexter's Laboratory was like hilarious because Dexter was doing all these secret things in his basement, but his parents didn't know. And I'm like, how do your parents not know? You made a lab in your basement or your bedroom. Did they not notice the bills were running up from Home Depot from your dad's credit card? Or do you have a secret credit card from a different country that you're like buying all these little secret little things that make a doorway that looks like a butthole opens up? And where are you getting all this money to buy all this little secret weapons and stuff, science experiments? Nobody asks, or a 9-year-old's getting money to make a lab? Like, how did your sister not tell your mom and have her bust in your room and go find your secret little lab? Like, who in their right mind would have their son have a room with a bunch of science experiments, just hiding behind, they push a button and everything turns into a 90s. Yep. Nowadays it'll be like, give me that button. You're all gone. No more science experiments for you, son. Yeah, we see you, Dee. We know you should have spoke out, girl. Why you hiding? Dee, you're one of us, girl. You okay? Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna cut it short today because Rain and Val are not here, and we have an exciting episode 118 for next week. So I'm gonna cut it short, and I'm gonna say, don't forget to follow us on Twitch under Ghosthead Nerd Talk Podcast, and follow us on YouTube if you're not already subscribed to the Joe Panther Variety Show. I will send the link in the chat right now because you're all watching on Twitch, and that is beautiful. And if you haven't followed us yet on Twitch, please give us a follow under Ghosthead Nerd Talk Podcast. I just sent you the link if you're watching on Twitch. Please follow us on YouTube under the Joe Pant on Ghosthead Nerd Talk 84. I'm gonna cut the short tonight, so I want to say thank you for watching, and I appreciate you all, and I love this, and I can't wait to possibly have the girls back next week. We're having a really awesome voice actor. He wanted to come on. He was so excited to book with me. I'll tell you when the episode poster goes up. I will hit you up with it. But just remember, us ghost heads have a lot to talk about. Good night, everybody.